Just 2 hours left to vote in East Tennessee. President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden and the nation bracing for what could be a long night. Turnout is already breaking records. That includes the state of Tennessee and states across the country.
Now, with time winding down to vote at the polls in East Tennessee, some precincts do have lines. Reporter Grace King is live outside the Cedar Bluff site, and Grace set the scene for us.
Robin and John, there have been a steady stream of people since we got here a couple hours ago. And you can see there are still a ton of people waiting about 35 minutes to an hour in line, wanting to get their ballots cast tonight. And while today is election day, voters have actually been voting for weeks, either by mail or during early voting. Before the polls opened today, the Tennessee Secretary of State's office said more than half of all registered voters in the state had cast their ballots. That's nearly 2.3 million people, a record for the state and also here in Knox County. Turnout in Knox County is expected to pass 200,000 this year. That would be well above the current record of 188,000 votes cast in 2008's presidential election. If you haven't voted yet, you have a little less than 2 hours to do so. As long as you get in line by 8 p.m., you will be allowed to vote. But 8:01 is too late. So if you want to cast that ballot, hurry up, try and get in line, and you'll be able to do so. Back to you.
Grace King will be checking in with you throughout the night.
During 2 weeks of early voting, more than 2 million Tennesseans used that opportunity to vote, and another 210,000 mailed back their absentee ballots. Voters in every Tennessee county could drop off their absentee ballots with a stamp up until 3 o'clock this afternoon at a designated post office. In Knox County, Elections Administrator Chris Davis says about 120 absentee ballots were dropped off today at the downtown location. They had already received roughly 90% of the absentee ballots requested.
It has been a busy election day across East Tennessee. At Louisville Town Hall in Blount County, we saw voters get in and out within about 10 to 15 minutes. In Loudoun County, election managers report a smooth day. Anderson County bracing for a big post-workday rush to the polls. Voters we spoke to explained why they see casting a ballot as a duty.
To let our voices be heard as citizens of this great country, be part of the constitutional republic in which we live, do our duty as citizens more than anything.
Again, less than 2 hours now to get in line at your precinct. If you are in line by 8 o'clock, you will be able to vote. East Tennessee voters are deciding who will represent them in Congress. House District 1 covers Sevier, Hamblin, and Cocke counties. It's a seat held for the last 12 years by Phil Rowe. He is not running. Republican Diana Harshbarger, Democrat Blair Walsingham, and Independent Steve Holder are all hoping to fill that seat. In District 2, covering Knoxville, Maryville, and Lenoir City, incumbent Tim Burchett faces two challengers. The Republican and former Knox County mayor faces a second challenge from Democrat Renee Hoyos. The independent in this race is Matthew Campbell. House District 3 covers Harriman, Oak Ridge, and La Follette. Incumbent Chuck Fleischman, first elected in 2011, is seeking re-election. The Republican facing a challenge by Democrat Meg Gorman and a couple of independents.